In a committee hearing yesterday or the day before, which I'm going to play you, the question is put to the new immigration ministers. How much does Bibby Stockholm cost? How much are we paying for that barge where somebody killed himself? And then secondly, how much per person is are we paying? And you'll see the ministers don't know. There's no idea. And they say, oh, the figure is being updated. Well, why don't we know? If this is supposed to be a better cost than putting somebody in a hotel, where's the comparative assessment? Where are the figures? Where's the information? We don't know. Oh, we don't know. It is pathetic, isn't it? Isn't this pathetic? This is what Suella Braverman was presiding over, this chaos, utter chaos. Listen to the committee meeting.
This is about Bibby Stockholm. We asked for the costings around Bibby Stockholm, the per person cost. In this, it says that the value of the vessel accommodation services portion is 22,450,772. I think that's the first time that we've heard that figure in terms of the cost of the, I'm assuming, the Bibby Stockholm and any other barges that the government are contracting with. Could the minister...
That is the only barge with which there is a contractual
22 million for the Bibby Stockholm. And how long is that for? What's the period of that contract?
I do not have that length of contract to hand, but I think what we have committed to doing is to provide details in the new year around the those sort of cost estimates, which we will work up, and we will provide that information through the prism and with the context that you are seeking.
The thing that just strikes me as very strange is that in the letter it says the value for money assessment is currently being updated to give the latest per person per night cost, and we will provide details in the new year, as you say. I am just flabbergasted that a value for money assessment was not carried out at the time that the contract was let. Do you not understand why the committee's concerned about that?
The word updated is in that statement.
But that's because...
And I think it is. I think you will appreciate why it is important that we do revise those value for money estimates as time passes, for the simple reason that we want to be responsive to needs. And if we need to, for example, put additional provision in place, if the number of people on board changes and various other variables come into play, we need to be able to adapt those figures to make sure that what we're dealing with, and actually when we're engaging with committees like yours and with Parliament and society more generally, we are talking in an accurate sense. And so you'll understand why that's quite important.
You know, absolutely. But it says here this contract was varied in April 2023 to incorporate vessel accommodation services on the Bibby Stockholm barge at Portland Port. So I would have thought when you were varying the original contract that value for money assessment would have been done at that point. Are you saying it wasn't?
I would assume, and again, I've only been in this role since Thursday last week, that work such as that was carried out at the time. But again, I make the point that in this statement, in this letter from the Permanent Secretary, it is talking about updating those costing figures.
You couldn't tell us what the value for money was at the time, because they must have done an assessment about the cost of a hotel compared to putting someone onto the Bibby Stockholm. There must have been some assessment. I mean, perhaps Mr. Hobbs.
This is undoubtedly a more cost-effective way of providing accommodation, as the large accommodation sites at Wethersfield.
How do we know?
And as we propose at Scampton would be the case. But again, you're asking for figures. What we have committed to do is to do this work and to come back to the committee with those revised costings, taking full account of the most up-to-date circumstances. And I think it is important that we engage with you in an accurate sense, and this will allow us to do that.
Okay.
And like me, I hope you agree that it doesn't matter whether these ministers are new in their role. This information should have been to hand, and it isn't. And there's nobody behind them passing them papers and saying this is the answer. Nobody's moving because nobody has the slightest idea what they're doing. This is the quality of the Home Office. This is what I've been going on and on and on about, because they are useless, utterly, utterly useless, and it doesn't matter who's in charge.